to explore the 3 common sleep states that most humans seem to move through. And it seems very few humans seem to actually awake out of these 3 states. And the ultimate goal with all spirit traditions, like from yoga to other types of awareness-based practices, is to help people evolve their consciousness into a state of becoming aware of being aware. And we find how many never seem to actually become aware, and when they actually do come into the state, actually many get a little unsettled, and they actually try to go right back in and say, how can I preoccupy my mind? How many times they're like, oh, what should I do? What should I think about? Right, so rather than resting in awareness, we actually are so programmed to preoccupy our mind that we just dive right back in. So we go back into one of these sleep states. So there's no real awareness in them. So these 3 states are this. There's deep sleep. Now, deep sleep, there's really no awareness going on whatsoever. It's like when you're sleeping and your alarm goes off and you reach over, you push the snooze button. Right? So there's some awareness there, but not really any consciousness. So a lot of people are moving through their life and they're not really caught up here. They're not really caught with what's going on around them. They're just going through those motions. So that's deep sleep. And the next state is what I call the exterior state, or I call it the movie state. And this is a state when you get caught up on looking at something outside of yourself, and all your emotions and your minds get caught up with what you're looking. For example, think of a time you're going to watch a movie with a bunch of friends. You're in the room, you have your favorite food, your favorite beverages, and the movie starts. At some point in the movie, it's likely you were no longer aware of the room, no longer aware of the food, the drinks, and the people. In fact, someone could even say your name, and it's likely you wouldn't hear them because you were so involved with what was happening in the movie. Right? And it's likely that you also started to feel the emotional content of that movie. If it was a scary movie, maybe you started to feel scared. If it was a love movie, maybe you started to feel the tinges of love. Right? If it was inspirational, so forth. Right? So what happens there's no real awareness of being aware. You're basically, your mental and your emotional state becomes hijacked by whatever it is you're observing. And it just takes you, whatever your eyes, your senses lands on, it just takes you. Right? And probably the most common experience of this that people experience every single day is social media. You're looking at Facebook, suddenly you're scrolling through, there's no more awareness, suddenly an hour has gone by or what have you, no awareness. And so that is what we call the wake state, or rather the exterior state. So the next state is what we call the interior state. Right? And this is a state, again, where we get caught up in the mind. Now, instead of being focused in on the objective, something outside of us, it's all subjective. We get caught up into the content of our internal dialogue. Think of a time when you're driving your car and suddenly you're like, wow, I don't really remember the last mile or 2 of driving. We've all had that experience. That is what we call the interior state, right? So it's a way that we're not aware of whatever we're thinking, whatever content in our mind, we just collapse into it. Our mental state, our emotional state, our energetic states basically becomes imbued in whatever we are choosing to focus on. So this is what we call the interior state. So in these 3 states, deep sleep, the exterior state, and the interior state, there's really no awareness. Now there's a moment when we come up and we're suddenly aware of being aware, and we're looking around, we're like, oh, this is where I am, I have presence. But then we often collapse back into one of those other 3 states. We call that Turiyatta. When we become fully aware of being aware, and we just ground in that beautiful, amazing state of wakefulness, what we experience is amazing. We come into this pure state of presence. And with that, we experience the world becoming present with us. And it's a very, very different experience. So as we are practicing our sense meditations, And we're doing our sit spot and still sitting. As we're moving through our environment intentionally, engaging our senses all around us. We are training our awareness to become aware of being aware. That we become awake of moving through the dream. And again, all the traditions share that we are basically just within a dream. And the intention is that we become awake within the dream where everything is conscious and alive, is interacting and responding with you. And we are each being uniquely dreamt into the world. And everything we see is part of our dreaming speaking to us. And in this, when you become aware of being aware, you gain this insight, you gain entrance into these conversations happening all around you, with you. And when you can do that and enter the dreaming of a place, the qualitative energies and mind of a single place, like right here, look at this beautiful area. This has a certain feel to it, a certain experience. And when you are awake and present here, it's going to become active and begin to speak with you. Okay, so that's enough for the different states and what we're doing with sense meditation and the shamanic aspect of becoming awake within the dream. Home.